Welcome to another episode of This Works for Us. And today we want to talk about, I guess, a somewhat of a difficult subject, and that's grief. And that's something that honestly I've been wanting to talk about for a little while now, on how we, process grief as a couple. Many of you already know that I've lost a younger brother, Anthony Lamar Bogan Jr. And not too long ago, my wife experienced a loss with a close cousin, like a sister to her, with Sonnet Shirley, right? Yeah, Shirley. And it just really been from my experience, it's been a trying time to a certain extent. When it first, I first got the news about my brother, I mean, it hit me hard. Like I couldn't even, fathom that my little brother, my baby brother, had did something so, I guess, heinous. Not heinous, that's a bad word, to just unbelievable of what he did, and to lose a, close person like that. Like, I've lost relatives before. I've lost, my grandparents, and something that I thought would have kind of prepared me for such, a close relative like that. I was very close with my grandparents. They were up in age, but I was able to, um, kind of process that. Oh yeah, they're older, they live their life type thing. But to lose my brother, that it was a extreme punch to the gut. Like, I never felt anything like that. So it's, they say the deaths are, what, depending on what it is, your when you lose a sibling, that's different. Losing a spouse, uncle, and all those are different. And I just don't know. Um, at that time, I didn't know how to kind of process it. That there was things along the way that helped me through that. So for you, how was it for you? Yours a little bit more recent than my brother.
Well, I mean, I've experienced loss in the past too. So at a pretty young age, I lost my father. I didn't I didn't deal with that so well. I'm not a super hyper emotional person outwardly. So I think I suffered a lot by myself um, for a pretty significant time before I decided that it was important for me to go get some kind of counseling. Um, but more recently with Sonnet, it's been uh, challenging. One because growing up and we just had some really good fun times, and you know um, I hadn't been in New York for a long time, so not being able to spend as much time with her as I had in the past, and that long distance, and just the things that normally come with grief. So I wish I would have spoke to her more. I wish I was there for her more, or whatever the case may be. I mean, the truth of the matter is, when your time comes, it's your time, and there's really nothing that anybody could have done, even though that's something that plays in your mind every day. So, as far as like dealing with it, I guess I process it in my own way. It still feels and will continue to feel like an empty feeling. Um, and the crazy part for me is like how much things around you remind you of that person.
Mm-hmm.
So I find myself like driving in the car, or like listening to music or something that will bring up a memory, of her, um, which makes you smile, but also makes you realize that the person is no longer with you. So that's still that empty feeling.
I think one of the other sides of dealing with grief, especially for us, and these are the first time we, as being married, we've dealt with grief, obviously married and stuff. So with my brother passing, I know my wife was trying to kind of say, well, we don't know if it was if that was him or if that's true about him or whatever the case. But I knew. I mean I just knew it was like a big part of me just at that point just left. That it was in 2020 when it happened, and before we knew about the things of the pandemic and all of that, I was supposed to go and spend time with him that same month. I was going to come home for my niece's um, graduation, and at the same time, I had that conversation earlier in the year with them saying, when I come home, we're gonna go out, get you out the house, go out to eat and all that stuff. But then, COVID showed up, and that really put a damper on stuff. We didn't know um, how this thing was going to play out at the time. And even my mom was supposed to come out for our Kennedy's birthday. We told her not to stay back. We don't know how this thing going to affect us and stuff. So looking back at it now, it's just like, man, I wish I would have still just had her come out then and now, but we just didn't know. Um, so canceled that and ended up having to go home anyway because the tragedy struck with him. So it was the way I had to, I guess, process it at the time. I got the news. My friend called me, like I knew before my mom knew that my brother had passed away, and the way I had to process it was, like I said, that it hit me like so hard in the gut. And I know we have these saying of, man, I don't know how I'm gonna live or how time was gonna go on without this person. And something that helped me in that moment is like I got the news. I forget the time, but I do remember I think it was like 6:12 here, 7:12 there, something like that. But either way, I saw the time that said, he passed. And you had that moment of, man, I don't know how my life is going to go on without this person. I literally saw the minute change. And right then and there, I had, a revelation that life is still going to go on. And no matter what I did on this, out here, that happened in Georgia, we are in Texas. There was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do to to try to bring him back or anything. Like I literally had to rely on God and rely on you. Like you was really there to really comfort me, hold me, um, just kind of walk me through it a little bit. It was couldn't sleep that night. Getting, just because you have so many things running through your head and you just want one, you don't want to believe it, but I accepted it kind of quickly. Um, Almost kind of unreal how I accepted it. That I don't even, well, I know why. 'Cause God gives you peace that surpasses all understanding, and sometimes I still try to understand that peace, but at the same time, it tells you it surpasses all understanding. So it's neither here nor there now. But I think when it comes to when you lose a loved one, you have to allow yourself the time to grieve because everybody grieves differently. Wife says she's kind of, private, not outwardly. I'm a little bit more outwardly, if I may say so, like that. So, um, I guess we was all like on a little Zoom call or something
Mm.
that day, talking with our friends, and all they heard was it wasn't a yell. What was it?
It was a yeah.
Was it a yell? I guess it was a yell. That they were like, "Oh shoot, what's going on? What happened?" It's nothing I'm ashamed about. That's my brother. Love him to life. You know, it was just a shock. It was a shock. It's still something that dealing with today. I have moments like you said. Riding in the car. Hear certain music. For me, him and I had like little inside jokes. Usually with Dave Chappelle. Certain things with that. You miss those things, conversations about our sports, um, little things like that. Kind of help the memory, the fun times we had. There was no ill will between us. That's comforting to know. Also comforting to know God. I know where He is. He accepted Jesus Christ as His Lord and Savior, and he walking on the streets of gold. Ain't no worries on His side. We're here, have to walk this thing out and stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard a statement that kind of stuck out to me. I think I heard it at one of the homegoings at church that we shouldn't let our sadness override their happiness of where they are. That they are, again, in a place of peace. We're here, selfishly still wanting them here, but they're happy, especially for those that accepted, Christ as their Lord and Savior. So to have that, knowing that, it's been a great experience.
Yeah, I think it's especially like when in the situation like your brothers, um, we don't we don't know the type of pain that anybody was in, or or what their thought processes or what they were dealing with. And so to have, selfishly to have like a peace of mind, um, that, on the other side, there's pure joy, happiness, like there's no more worries, there's no more stress. Um, that's what you can keep with you, knowing that, like, yes, I want them here, I want to spend more time with them. I wish, in my situation, she had three beautiful girls, and so that hurts to my core, knowing that, I'm a mom, right, of two girls, and for them not to have her, and for me to feel this, like, I wish I was closer to be there and help more, and um you know so it's a lot to process, and like Sean said, time is going to continue to go on, and we are eventually going to heal to a point where we could manage. I don't know that the pain ever really truly goes away. You just learn how to deal with life without that person for now. So I just think that, like, it's a process. Every day is a new day, and you just have to be grateful for that day. And the best thing that you really could do is remember all the good times. Remember the laughter.
Mhm.
Talk to the people that you love, that share the same common love for that person, and you know be at peace that they're at peace.
one thing I was just thinking as you were saying that, saying about the good times is that one thing, and I won't say jealous per se, but one thing I'm happy that Sonette did, and that's to have that camera out.
Yeah, she did. She
She
loves so
had
many pictures.
so many pictures, videos. It's so many, memories. So her social media presence is, in a sense, still there. So you can go and visit to see some of the photos. You can go some of the videos and things, and you see the nice things maybe people have said throughout her life, and the way she affected people. Me, my brother was a ghost. I don't mean that in a literal sense now, but his social media presence was about nothing. He probably, if you look him up, he probably had about 6 different profiles. Just like he would change his numbers. So you got like different profiles out there. So he didn't have a lot of, a big social media presence where I can go back and visit a photo or video or anything like that. I think it's kind of guess it's kind of good and bad. And the reason why I say it's bad because it will then provide an opportunity to maybe look upon those videos, and then I get to dwelling on the fact that he's not here, which could ultimately, in a sense, open me up to a state of, I guess, more of a depression and type thing, to where I'm now, you know, making myself sad to, I guess, work through this, feeling or whatever it may be. So for me, I have all my memories kind of up here in actual photos. We don't even have a lot of pictures and stuff, together like that. We have some, but most of those were when we were younger, and mom had these the disposable cameras. Everybody got digital cameras on your phone and stuff. Now we had to take the film to the drugstore and get it developed and stuff. Matter of fact, even the grocery store, we took it to the grocery store to get that.
Those are some of the worst pictures too, because like
Oh, you be
you
half
like,
their face like. There's a picture of Lumo's, that's his nickname, Lumo, of his first birthday, and it's a disposable. He's sitting in our grandmother's lap. Now we got the picture of him, but half my grandmother's face. Now you probably see good portion. I say you probably see 75% of her face, and then you don't even see the hair or anything. But that's one thing about them disposables. You better hope you ain't caught it. You don't know until that film is developed. So I think just to have those memories from like the social media is easily accessible. Because I think we talked about this on a previous episode about would you rather. It was something about I think it's something about photos. If you would rather have the book or something, child, that was a couple years ago. We've been slack. But either way, it was something. Would you rather have? I think I'd rather have that photo album
than social media,
or just from the memory. Because God forbid something happened to your memory. At least it's here, physical.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, I guess they have all the backup and in the cloud and all the other
now.
stuff.
Ain't no.
So you don't. So you don't lose them per se. Then you gotta pay extra storage. But I always think about like, if you have control of the cloud and the storage, right? But then your family doesn't, right? If something happens to you, then what happens to the pictures in the cloud?
Well, you would hope somebody got the login.
Yeah.
I think. Well, you hope. I think about just in this day and age now with with cameras and stuff. We have on our phones so many photos and stuff that have not even made it to social media of the kids, ourselves, and things of that nature. So you'd hope someone could get to your phone or to that cloud that's being backed up to. Cause you're like, oh shoot, I can go through here. Maybe there's a video of, you ever try to sing to yourself or something with the video? You
I
sure?
don't know. I barely. No, why you looking at me like that? I don't be recording myself singing songs.
You might.
I don't. I barely take selfies. Anyway, yeah. But pictures are good. Take lots of pictures. Be in the pictures.
Yeah.
With your loved ones. I know everybody. My hair don't look good, or this
Who
don't
cares?
look right. It doesn't matter.
Because the person's alive, right? At that time, yeah, it matters. But after that, I guess at the same time, you still don't want to kind of put them out there in
Yeah, but I mean, like, even let's not even say they were gone, but like to be able to look back
oh yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
memories, whether you share them or not with other people is a whole nother thing. But to be able to look back, like I remember that time that we did that or whatever, like it always jogs something.
I think another thing, like for Sonette, she has a legacy. She has children,
Mhm.
so she is, in a sense, still living on through them. So that's a good thing. So I've always, just like, man, if my brother had some children out there, that'd be great. I'd make sure, the girl come up and say, hey, this your brother was my daughter or my son's dad. And I was, first of all, skip his DNA test going on here, gonna make sure. And then if it is, I'm going to respectfully ask if I can have him or her.
And I'm sure they was respectfully declined, but you can be a part of
I
the
wouldn't be very
child
much a
life.
part of the
Nobody
child
around
life.
here giving away their kids.
I'm saying, look, you can go on back to where you was doing. I got it from here.
I mean, I guess we all want the something of the person to be left behind. So it is a blessing that she had children and that we get to enjoy them. And they look a lot like her. So
Especially the oldest.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost surreal to be able to like see her in them.
I think
Even
that,
personality too.
yeah. That what you get to see that part from the parent, the different traits and characteristics being oh Lord, transferred or passed down to the child to see a little bit. I mean, we see that in our own children, and it's a weird blend with that. But as Kylie looks like me, acts more like you in a logical thinking way. Kennedy looks more like you, but is silly. She get that from you. I'm just easy. The
Okay.
but just to see the different parts of you live on.
Yeah.
Like that. So that's exciting to see. I think, another aspect of, dealing with grief, I think when those feelings come, because we know it just comes at any time. It could be, you could have saw like, so I don't know, a butterfly or something like that made you think about that person, and then you may cry or whatever the case. I have been an advocate of feel your feelings. If it's there, if you need to cry it out. It doesn't do any good to kind of hold it in a sense. Because all they're doing is just letting stuff kind of fester and kind of eat at you a little bit. But go cry privately. Get it out, and all that is your love for them. That doesn't go away. That even though they may be gone physically, the love never stops. And just to think, you know, at least the time, waits for no one, and to for me, going on almost 4 years that I have not heard or seen his face physically is kind of crazy, But again, it's that piece of God that has really carried me through. Um, and I like to say the same for my family for the most part. I haven't seen them kind of get too down about it. Maybe I don't know how they're feeling, honestly. I know my mom, she thinks about him all the time, and it's to be to be there, to be at home, and for them to drive past that place just about every day. I don't know what kind of effect that may have. Um, I think because I'm out here, I'm sheltered from that, so it's kind of easy. Well, I'm say that yeah, it's kind of easier for me to. I don't have to, deal with that part of the reality. But it did when we went home. Reality was there that he ain't there. Like he is just not there. When I would go in and see him laying on the couch or something like that, he's not there. So when I go home, it becomes reality. But when I'm out here, I'm like, he's somewhere, probably handling business or something like that. I ain't seen him, I ain't talked to him or anything like that. But when you are there, that's when the reality hits, and like he gone. He is not here. He is singing hallelujah right now. And for y'all that know him, y'all be like, he's singing hallelujah? Yes. Probably a little dipset flavor with him or whatever, but he's probably just singing hallelujah right now. And it's just the reality of it that even though he's not here physically, he's enjoying himself.
What would you say you needed the most, like in that moment, whether it was from me or from someone else, like family or
At that time, it was immediately God. Immediately. I needed his love, his comfort, his reassurance uh, to keep me stable. I always tell people from the outside looking in, my brother and I, we had a great relationship. That's without a doubt. But for me, I always said I wanted it to be, more of like, the brother. I wanted it to be more like he was like my best friend type thing. But it was more like I always felt like it was a father son type relationship down to, make sure he's straight doing this, doing that and stuff. So I just, just to process the whole thing. I mean, it kind of happened quickly the way like God came through and, really protected me, and, you coming, holding me and stuff like that, that obviously helped out to go through some kind of, devastating as that. It's not a pleasant feeling. I know people, we're not the only. I think we sometimes feel like we're the only one that has gone through something like that. But there's other people that have also, lost a brother or a sister or, mother or something like that, anything. And, when you kind of bring that in, that hey, I ain't the only one that's going through that, kind of levels you a little bit because you're not by yourself. There's a guy that I used to work with, and he lost his brother many, many, many years ago. And you don't think about it because you just see the person, enjoying life like it is, not thinking that, dang, they probably lost somebody. And that's not something you just think about all the time, that you meet somebody like, dang, I know they lost somebody close. You just don't know. You just don't know. So I think in those moments that, obviously that was brought back to my remembrance too, that you're not alone. Just remember you're not alone when these things happen, because as soon as you feel that you're alone, that's how you get picked off. That's how these thoughts and things, come in your mind, and all kind of weird stuff, or you start blaming yourself. And I thank God he kept my mind solid. I didn't go down that road of, man, if I was just there. Or I mean, I remember even having the opportunity to talk to him that day. But I was looking out for my mom. I didn't want her to lose her phone and then wouldn't have any communication because he wasn't like in his right mind that day. So I didn't speak to him. I heard his voice in the background that day, but I just didn't take the opportunity to speak to him. Now, I could have allowed that to just play over and over and over. Like, what if you just had the conversation with him? Maybe he'd still be here. And maybe he won't. I don't know. That's something I won't know. I can't project or even begin to think the what if, because that what if it's impossible right now. 'Cause what we know is that he has passed away. He is not here physically. What would you say was the most you needed at that time?
Um, so I feel like I've lost way too many people to even want to think about it, but I feel like sometimes it's always different for me. I think when I lost my father, there was lots of things that I had to like process in my mind, how it happened, um, where I was, could I, you know, I don't know, done something or said something? Should I have talked more? Should I have had a better relationship? Should I have, all these things? And in that situation for me, I did have a situation that played over and over and over in my mind. I had a crazy. I was graduating with my associate's degree, and I invited him to the graduation. And that same day, I actually had to go to a repast
Hmm.
for my aunt. And so, they watched me walk across the stage, but then everybody's like, let's go. We have to, pack up. We have to get to uh, the repast. And so it kept replaying in my mind that I didn't even consider that he was there, right? Like that he was there, that he had flowers, that he was, I just totally left with, my family. And, he called and he's like, where were you? I was here. And I felt so bad. Like I just felt so terrible. Like that was like a moment for us to have been together, to have a memory that I totally just blew off. And shortly after, he passed. So that drove me insane. But I also, again, like I suffered in silence, really. Like I just didn't share with my family how I was feeling or what I was feeling. And, I kind of went on like this destructive path, not even knowing, right? Like I just, whatever, life it is what it is, right? Um, so what I needed was to talk about it. What I needed was, a listening ear. But I wasn't willing to share it, which I still have those kind of issues. Like I just tend to process my feelings on my own. Um, so I think for me, if there's a person that's around me, like it's just like a check-in, right? Whether I ask for it or not, it's just like I know what you've gone through, how you doing, right? And I probably won't tell you much of nothing. I'll probably tell you I'm fine, but it's the thought that counts, right? Like just the simple text or, you know, if you want to talk, I'm here, kind of thing.
And I think you know, family and friends, they did a good job of, going through something like that. They, called and checked in. We called each other cousin. Got up the road here, man. He came down here the next day just to sit here and be here with me while I went through that. So from that, very appreciative. That was very, caring, loving of him to do that. And that's, people like that you want to make sure you keep around all the time, man. They always there for you, in the sense of the drop of a dime, man. Um, they'll do that. So that also played a role when you got a strong support cast with it. And
sometimes you just need somebody to sit with you, right? You don't really want to talk about it, or deal with it, honestly, like, you know, and if somebody could sit next to you and just, when you're ready to laugh with you, when you're ready to cry, be a shoulder for you to lean on.
I think that's important.
The presence is what really matters.
Just laughter, it's something that it's in that difficult situation. Laughter is good. It is very, I feel like it's a form of healing with that. I feel like, just with his death alone, I've learned, I guess, so much about myself and how I, view death in a sense now. Not to, I guess, not to be, scary or anything like that, but just it made me, wonder about heaven a little bit more. Like the whole thing, like we already knew, heaven was real and stuff, but like, all right, well, so what's really going on up there with it? Are they thinking about us here? But in the Bible it says if when we're in the presence of the Lord, there's fullness of joy. So if there's fullness, that means there's nothing else there. So, and if we're experiencing joy, there's no room for sorrow or anger or tears or things of that nature. So for them to pay attention to what's going on here, that's going to bring about sorrow and anger and things of that nature. So in the presence of the Lord, there's joy. What do they need?
They got no words.
None. We are the ones down here. Again, we should not allow our sadness outweigh their happiness and where they are. Again, for those who have accepted Jesus Christ as the Lord and Savior. Just want to preface that because there could be some people in hell right now and they ain't happy. I'll tell you that much. But I just think, again, to get around people, to laugh. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel angry, but sin not. It's You go through these emotions. You have to, process these things. I've been in some of my not counseling in regard to like grief, but just with the VA and stuff, just trying to keep your mental straight and just kind of balance things out and kind of accept things as they are. Don't try to overthink it. That has been assisting in my some of my well-being with dealing with certain pain or grief. You just got to learn how to process these things. I know again people process things a little differently, but
one day at a time. I think that you shouldn't be afraid to get help. There's so many like resources out there, groups that you can go to. Like, I know it's like the initial thought is like, I don't need no stranger in my business,
Mhm.
they didn't know them, or nobody's gonna understand, right? Because your pain is your pain, and nobody could possibly understand your pain, which is may not be the same for
Right.
them, but people understand pain in general. But sometimes it feels good to talk to somebody who doesn't know you, right? Like, no judgment. If I don't ever want to see you again, I don't have to, right? You don't know me, I don't know you. So, I can say whatever I truly feel, and move on. But also, you have the opportunity with God, right? Like, if you truly don't want to go see a person in the natural, like, you have the opportunity to, you know,
Lay it
lay
all out.
yourself before
Yeah.
God and cry it out and be mad and say how you feel and let it all out and um be real.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the best things I feel about prayer is that it's between me and him.
Hmm.
And I don't have to feel judged. I don't have to feel less than. I don't have to feel any guilt. I can just let it out. And unless he's going around telling my business, I don't have to worry about somebody, sharing it or gossiping or whatever the case is. It's freeing.
Yeah. If you could say something to her right now, what would you say?
I would just tell her how much I loved her and that truly, we were born, first cousins, but truly, truly, she was my sister. And I really can't explain how much I truly enjoyed life with her, um, and just who she was. Um, and so that, no matter what, I was gonna be there for her, whether she knew that or not. I'm sure she did. Uh, but that I love her with the bottom of my heart, and I miss her so, so much. I get all weird sometimes when I look at the social media and you can see the person's comments of like a post or
Or a
something.
memory that come up or something like
Yeah,
that.
or a memory. And so I really just would want her to know that I truly, truly miss her. Um, and I think about her almost daily, if not daily.
Yeah. I mean, I can share those same sentiments. Like I would say almost daily now. First happened, I'd say for the good solid 2 years for sure, every day. And I still bring my brother up just about every day, in any kind of conversation because he's a part of my life. Um, and dealing with that and bringing him up allows me to kind of not hold anything in because I can talk about it, and keep that going. I think one thing I would tell him is that hey, there was so much more to look forward to, and that your family and I love you, and we could have worked this thing out, um, get you the help that you needed, but one thing that also kind of I guess settled it for me is he was a grown man and he made his own decisions. Whether we agree with it or not, it was a decision that he made, and I can't get mad at it. It's that old adage of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. That applies in that situation too. Like, hey, let's go get this help, and until that person is willing to do it, that's when they'll do it. And I guess, and kind of go back a little bit, when I had the conversation with him, probably a couple months before the incident happened, and I just said that because I've said it before, he committed suicide, and I had the conversation with him, and I asked him, I said, "Bro, you thinking about committing suicide or stuff?" Because he had took these pills or some stuff. He's like, "No, man. If somebody gonna do, commit suicide, they're just gonna do it. I ain't doing. I ain't doing that. I wasn't thinking about doing that. It's all right." And I was at that point. We had a conversation, and I told him then I loved him, and I wanted him to succeed in life, and again find a purpose again. But that was somewhat what that small conversation was. I couldn't do nothing but take his word for it, and that was somewhat closure for me in a way. So when it actually happened, there was no regrets, like, oh my gosh, I didn't do this, or whatever the case per se. I said what I needed to say to him then, and I could have taken his word for it. So I would, again, if I could say something to him is, hey, brother, I miss you. Wish you can see your nieces. I know they would have had a, ball with you, because he was a nutcase. He was a nutcase. He was just funny. Just a great, great person to be around. If you needed to laugh, he definitely had that. And it was effortless. Almost like his dad. You know what I'm saying? It was just, that's what you're talking about. The apple don't fall far from the tree. That guy. It's like Jesus said, if you seen me, you've seen the Father. So if you seen my brother, you've seen his dad. So he was just like his daddy. So a lot of fun, and just silliness all around. So it just kept you laughing, always in good spirits. So that's something I would share with him. Hey, I love you and miss you immensely. But for those that are maybe dealing with grief, I say stay the course. If you need people to talk to them. Don't suffer alone, because it can get bad sometimes. You can crawl off in a corner and think about causing harm to yourself. And I suggest don't do that. Get the help that you need. Don't be afraid to go get counseling. Don't be afraid to have that conversation, these tough conversations. You want to scream at God, talk to him, like, how could you? And I guarantee he'll give you an answer. Just feel your feelings. Don't hold any of that stuff back. I know it's a difficult thing when we lose someone near and dear to us, but we are still here. We still have work to do. We still have to continue life. Honor them in the best way you can. Honor them by showing that you still got this. You can still accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Yeah, they may not be here, but I know they would be proud of what you're doing, what we've done, things of that nature. So I just say keep the good fight going.
Yeah. I guess what we didn't really mention was, you know, um, there are people out there who their loved one was taken from them by the hands of, someone else.
Mhm.
And that is a whole nother level of pain and anger, that you have to deal with. And by no means could I even imagine dealing or how that feels.
Mhm.
But it's not your job to fight that fight. God, vengeance is the Lord's, right? And so what that person would want for you, I believe, is not to put yourself in, any harm or danger, or, cause a ripple effect and something happened to you because you took matters into your own hands. So, you know, um, there's all different levels of grief, and we lose people in different ways. But what's most important is that you look around and see that you're here and you still have a purpose, um, for your friends or your family or what God has in store for you. And so, you know, finding like people who can help you through that pain is super important. I don't think any, like, death in itself is just,
It's a part of life.
it's a part of life, but it's hard. Um, and so um, I would say you can't rush it. Some people are able to push through faster and get back on track, and some people need a little more time, but it's okay. Like, go at your own pace.
Yeah, don't rush through it.
Deal with the grief, day by day, but just every day take one step closer to,
And there's lessons to be learned
yeah.
along that process. I tend to think, that situation with my brother, like never in a million years I thought anything like that would happen to our family. I've heard of other people it, kind of happened to. I'm like, "Ah, no way." That what people say. I didn't see that on the bingo card. But I think there was a lesson to be learned there. One, to for sure trust God, lean on Him. Not one time I wasn't even mad. I don't think I don't think I experienced any anger when um when that happened with my brother. I don't recall any anger. Sad, yes. A lot of that was going around, but no anger. Hmm. Just I would just say, whatever those lessons are, take heed to them, because I'm quite sure. Just like just dealing with that, just helps me deal with other aspects of life. Yes, things may not go the way plan it to go, but again, stay the course. Try to stick it out the best way you can, and again, just seek help. Hey, call us. You need to call me. I don't hit me up or something. Maybe I can give you some words of encouragement. Hoping what we're sharing with you now helps in some kind of way. That you're not alone. Yes, we enjoy laughing and um, making you guys laugh or whatever information that we're sharing with you. But we real people. We go through stuff just like y'all go through stuff. Um, and really just thank you. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to kind of share our hearts, how we've kind of dealt with it, still dealing with it. Um, and we'll continue to deal with it as long as we live, until that day for us to go on the glory, which, many years down the road. Unless God said, you know what, wrap it up, start it over, rapture. And we're like, we out of here, baby. But yeah, just thank you. Thank you. Any other closing remarks?
No other closing remarks. Just be blessed, live in the present. I think that would be my takeaway from all of this, or just grief in itself, is what it's shown me is to be present in the moment and enjoy the moment, because you don't get that time back.
Yeah.
So
For someone that didn't have any closing remarks, Had some closing remarks. But thank you guys again for tuning in to This Works for Us. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next video.
What's up, podcast family? We just want to say thank you for tuning in, watching our episodes. We pray that what we are saying is a blessing to you. God placed it on our hearts to share with other married folks and soon to be married folks. So again, we just pray that it's blessing you.
And stay tuned for the next video. Again, we want to thank you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for supporting This Works for Us podcast.